Innovative.
Yeah. See the plant plug, everything is stock, it's organic. I don't take much to put a seed inside the planet. It's way more about what you do after you plant it. It's all a cycle, go and cook a plate and smash it, yeah. She got all the needs for your seeds, yeah, yeah. Hit the knees, gotta pull out all the weeds, yeah, yeah. Don't forget, never be scared of the bees, yeah, yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's Taylor. I'm the Plant Plug. I'm the owner and operator of the Plant Plug, also go by Plant Plug Triple G LLC, as well as I have that trademark, that TM. Please remember that I'm the one and the only and the original Plant Plug. And welcome to my podcast, everybody. We're on episode 4, season 3. Hit the siren. Welcome. We're not on Big Boy's Neighborhood, but you get the drift. Especially if you're from Los Angeles and you're in the middle of that commute, you should actually wake up to me. I think that's a good idea, right? Figuratively, literally, wake up to me. I think the sound of my voice is rather pleasing. Depends. It depends on what kind of tones you like, but please believe I try to hit all keys. Welcome to the Plant Plug podcast, and wake up and smell the lavender, everybody. So, guess what? My guest is me. My special guest today is me. If I'm not the specialist guest that can be, it's me. It's Taylor Lindsey, and we're gonna get really raw and real when it comes to just pretty much everything, as far as just being an owner of your own business. And also, I realized how multifaceted the Plant Plug has become in the last 3 years. I've been doing this professionally since 2019, and also what the Plant Plug has turned into. And by the way, y'all, not only am I on YouTube, I'm also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We actually have listeners in Germany. Did you know that? No. We have listeners in Germany and in India. Wow. Yeah, as well as the live videos on YouTube. There's definitely snippets on Instagram. If you don't follow me, you can follow me at Plant Plug LA. I got it, y'all. It took me 3 years. I got Plant Plug LA as my handle.
You got the handle.
I got the handle. Because there's like 13 other Plant Plugs, but they need to put some respect on my name, yeah. Birdman Hands, as well as I want people to come to the right place. So, yes, Spotify. We're on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Not as frequent, because the app kind of belongs to the children right now, which I really appreciate. I do not discriminate towards the Gen Z and the children, but that's anybody under 25. And also, we are on Anchor FM. Very nice. And we are moving towards other platforms coming really soon. So I appreciate everybody that's been listening, that's checking into older episodes, and actually up on game on the newer episodes as we go into 2023. So the thing about this is that this episode is going to be your farmer friend. Everybody should have a farmer friend. Cam, my amazing producer. I'm not in the studio alone. I'm not in here alone. You don't have to hide your wallet and hide your purse. I am not in here alone. I am being watched. And you have a farmer friend. Look at you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a farmer friend.
Have a farmer friend, because, I understand people have a plug one way or another, and people have the person that does this. Like when I was growing up, it was the bootleg man, and then you have the taco man,
right? And
then you have you have the corn man, yep. And then you have what you got to speak whatever languages you got to speak to get what you need to get for the good price.
Right.
But in theory, when we don't have the money to facilitate our plans and our dreams and our cravings, what do? So this is what I try to do as the plug, is put people on game through connections with things that money can't buy. So if you're listening, I'm your official farmer friend. You could tell your mom about me. You could tell your dad too. I just don't slide in my DMs. But
I don't want no problems.
I don't want no problems. And so I've had it happen, actually. I was just telling a family member about having some dads slide in my DMs about, when I get away from my wife, I'm coming buy plants from you. Sir, this conversation is not about plants whatsoever.
That's not what we're doing.
That's not what we're doing. Why? What does your wife have anything to do with you buying plants? Home Depot is right there. Come on, please. Oh, my goodness. After he sends me the link to his Forex courses. So you got to get a farmer friend. So I'm your farmer friend. I'm the gardener get down. And also, I also love teaching people about entrepreneurship and what it takes. I 10 out of 10 do not recommend it. But certain specifics I don't recommend, like, monetizing your hobbies, not having a work-life balance, not separating personal from professional. Also, I learned my hardest lesson was I used to be very quick on the draw, and I would really strike when the iron was hot when deals were put on the table. I didn't ask for contracts, and also I didn't. I read contracts before I sign them, please believe. But I didn't ask for contracts, and I would just accept work. And we'll get into the entrepreneurship part later. So those are the lessons I really learned this year. And man, this year was an ass whooping. Good God. I don't know if it was anybody else. It was equal parts blessing as it was hardships, but a whole ass whooping. And then we're still here. We're here. And also, I want to talk more about the ethos. That's my word right now. Ethos is pretty much just the mission of what you got going on. The ethos of the plant plug, and also where are we going? Like, everybody knows why we're here, right? Gardening, food, food sovereignty, food equity, right? Getting land back. Also, blacks and natives, and there's a lot of Native Americans that are black too. We just got classified a certain way. Yep. And then I'm black indigenous, by the way. If anybody, people should care. They should care about that.
They definitely
but also find out about themselves on their own. And also, where are we going with the plant plug? Because one thing is that the mission of this business is bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's a political, economic, social issue that goes across the board all over the world at this point. Congratulations, everybody. We just hit 8 billion population. 8 billion. And I used to really believe that issue was because people were not using prophylactics and just out here, having offspring like it's going out of style. No, that's not the issue. The issue is those social economic issues, those political issues, the fact that politics made its way into our food, that politics made its way into our science, the politics that people question, like it's based on a belief system, not so much necessarily facts and data, is really, really scary. This earth is enough, but we as a society aren't. And that's a hard pill to swallow. I love pills.
Rephrase that.
I love pills, and let's swallow them, because the thing about it is, the only thing that's permanent is change, and it needs to happen. You have to. I just want to ride the waves of evolution. That's what I want to do. And if that's just an individual effort, which is a very lonely effort, by the way, that comes with entrepreneurship, then so be it. So be it. And I'm at a point where I really don't want things to get in the way of that. And I'll be who I have to be in order to serve my community. I'm not a wolf in sheep's clothing. I found that out. I'm not a shark. I'm not a lion. I'm not a tiger, rose, clock, tattoo, whatever person. I don't know why I thought of that. But I'm just not that. I'm okay with being, despite my exterior, with being like the soft, compassionate, empathetic, oh my God, it's so draining individual that I am. And that's what created the tenacity. But Cam, do you have some questions for me?
Yeah, so my first question would be, right?
Okay. Yes, I'm single.
Nah, see. As an entrepreneur.
Okay.
What advice would you give to somebody that wants, or maybe wants to, or is on the ledge, teetering between leaving a job, leaving a 9-to-5 to go be an entrepreneur, like things like that? Like what advice would you give them to want to move forward with being an entrepreneur and trying to work for themselves or build something for themselves?
Right. Actually, that's been coming up a lot. And there's a difference between what you want to do and what you have to do. And if that gets to be the same thing, you are blessed, you are anointed, you are chosen. And the thing about it is you have to push yourself off that ledge. And we were talking about this last night. I was in the club last night. I don't even know if I took all my makeup off, but we were celebrating. She goes by Her Selections on Twitter. Please follow her. Rose God, she just took the leap of faith. Left the 9-to-5, full-time DJ, one of my favorite DJs in LA. DJ Punch, I love you. You on the list. You in my top 5. But Rose God is up there. Like But I was talking to another freelancer about being an entrepreneur and taking that leap of faith. What nobody told me when I did that, because I've only been freelance for a little over a year. Okay? Nobody told me about the suspended in air part. Yeah. Nobody told me about hanging. And what the thing about that is what's gonna keep you at least, for lack of better term, grounded, or at least holding on. It's faith. It's faith, and it's things that are tangible and things that are within your reach. Bless you. So the thing about that is, I didn't hit the ground running until I realized what was already mine and how much I already had as far as what I needed. I thought I needed loans. I thought I needed employees. I thought I needed a physical empire, which is not true. We do not build castles. We don't need them. Yeah. What I needed was me. What I needed to be, I needed to be my best friend. I needed to be my cheerleader. I was already my manager. I was already my PR agent. I was already my promotion street team. I was already doing all that for myself. I've been doing that stuff for myself since I was a kid, hustling Pokemon cards. A lot of people
don't understand that all of that is a part of the package.
It is. And you get torn. You can become torn between, like I said, who you are, who you think you have to be to get where you think you are or where you need to be. And also you can lose yourself, getting lost in the sauce, as the children say. And the thing about it is,
as the children say,
the thing about it is, use what you already have and give yourself the grace to not only make mistakes, not only quote unquote lose money, because losing money is subjective. Like, you don't want to go in the complete red. Like, when it comes to the financials, don't borrow money that you don't intend on paying back, that you can't pay back. Another thing is, all debt is not bad debt. If you take out loans that you can realistically pay back, and please believe it, do not quit that 9 to 5, because especially if you're still self-funded. Now, self-funding is safe in the beginning, but at some point, in order to scale up, you do need more capital or more money to be able to use liquid money, okay? Mm-hmm. Liquid money. I'm not talking about gift cards or cryptocurrency right now. We all know about FTX. We don't have to talk about that right now. But the thing about it, too, is that you want to know the difference between good debt and bad debt. And also, the people that you have in your corner, don't be afraid to add more people, but you don't have to switch people out. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. But
at the same time, you got to add the right people.
You got to add the right people, but I always believe it's the people that I don't choose that are the right people for me.
Right.
Like, they fall into my lap.
Yep.
All of my best and healthiest relationships they don't look any like what I planned. How did I end up in here? How did I end up part of innovative culture? Yeah, And I would say that if somebody's really like, give yourself, I would say 3 to 6 months of actively pursuing what it is you want to do, because there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and being a freelancer. So a freelancer is like an individual that works within an industry. An entrepreneur can be somebody that invests in stuff. You could have outside endeavors. And if you just want to increase your income, that's different than owning a business. There's so many different ways to increase your income. If increasing your income is your goal, that's not the same as being a freelancer. Yeah. If you hate your job, join the club, honey. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I've done a lot of things this year that I didn't want to do. But when it comes to success, there's no secret. It's just being consistent, and you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do sometimes. Now, I'm talking about degrading on our knees kind of things. That's not what I meant.
That you have to do.
The things that you have to do, yeah. But then you get to a place where I get to do this. Mm-hmm. I get to do this. And my biggest flex this year is that I was in a place where I got to turn down work. Because I'm not a workhorse. Yeah. And also, I did have employees for a while. I had a team of 5, but I put them before I put them before me, that's what I'm the kind of person. I do not build my business on the back of volunteer labor.
That's a true business owner right there.
Thank you. They were making $25 an hour. I was making $18 an hour.
Somebody that takes care of their employees. Like, like, how many jobs have you went to and you see the manager or the owner of the company, depending on how big the company was. Right. It might be like a small little mom and pop shop.
Right.
But they might take care of the whole crew at the end of the day. They might take them out, or they might have just bring everybody together, or the good ones. But then you had the people who didn't really care. They wouldn't really, they want you to work while they go out and party. That type of stuff.
It's always some middleman stuff too. In the last company I worked for, I learned the business model in and out, and I'll say, like, I really admired it. but they were just so high up I would never touch them. But I found the people that did run the franchises phony. Phony. And then I ended up investing in the company at large, so I'm getting the phone calls. Now that's a real flex. And if you guys work for these corporate companies, buy stock. Don't wait for the company to give you stock because they're not going to do it, especially if you're at entry level. If you're a 9-to-5er at a retail job, look up the company stock. You'll always know more than the manager. And guess who gets taken care of more? The investors more than employees. So the thing about it is I was getting sales calls, reports, because you get quarterly reports about how the company's doing revenue-wise. I knew about programs that were coming up. I knew about sales records and things like that. And then general manager or the regional manager would come in and say, oh, this, and that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm aware. And I said, how do you feel about this, and that, and where the direction the company's going? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like...
Stumped.
Yeah,
Stumped.
And there's no shade in that. But the thing about it is, I'm like, so what kind of leverage do you guys really have over me? Other than seniority, a hierarchy, and a false sense of ownership. You know, because we own our time and we give it away. We trade it for, I'd rather trade it for a bag of beans at this point because beans get me money. Have you seen Jack and the Beanstalk? You know what I'm saying? To the top, baby, with beans. But that's just what it is. So I like I said, anybody that's thinking about it, I would say just give yourself 3 months. And if you can create a stream of revenue for yourself, see how much that is, and then supplement it. So I was making $1,200 a month at my last job. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I just enjoyed what I did. I worked at a gym. So when I quit my job, I had 2 months. Actually, I didn't. I had a savings of about $12,000. So I had about a year's income in savings, but it was mostly in stocks because I was like crazy about day trading. And then, I was very fortunate to get that. I'm just saying, like, everybody does not have that such scenario. And then I just 2 months, I didn't know what to do with myself. I really didn't. And I was depressed. You would think party, this and that. It's because I had my identity attached to those jobs. Right. And also it gave me something to do every day. Like that I had to appear somewhere. And I lost part of myself with that. I just chalk it up to work-related PTSD now. But at the time, it was just like I needed that time to rest because I've been working nonstop since I was 18. And then also, I was like, okay, now what? So then I ended up getting 3 clients, and I just did the math, and then I got 3 clients that supplemented that $1,200 a month. So I can quit. And then also, I added up everything I needed as far as my personal expenses went, like basic, like blow it apart, like I'm spending $100 a week on groceries kind of stuff, right? Rent, groceries, gas, like those type of things. Like that's just how I live my life. And then I would divide it by 30. So how much money did I need a day to survive? At the time, I only needed $65 a day. But the way my mind was so attached to working those jobs that I'm gone 8 hours a day at the job. That's not the hour commute to hour back. That's 10 hours. Then that's not the 2 hours dreading and being partially paralyzed, not getting out of bed because you're like, now I got to get ready for work. You know what I'm saying? And that's not the dread and the drain you feel because for some reason, somebody knows how come when we're tired at work, but when we get home, we get all this energy. And then now we can't sleep. And then you go to sleep at 2 and 3 in the morning looking at memes or TikTok because it makes you happy. And then you got to get up at 8 again to go back to work. And you're all in that series of dread.
It's the loop.
It's
the cycle.
Yeah. And it's that's just what it is. Just knowing how much your time is worth and knowing how much of your time you have to trade in order to make it. So with the median rent being what it is in Los Angeles, we do have to make more. That 65 jumped to 85 real quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just parlaying to what is a plant plug going to be about now. So, yeah, we had to shut down the shop. Unfortunately, we had a break-in that destroyed so much. I was the first curbside nursery in South Central, meaning that my whole driveway was a store, and you had an immersive, not only learning experience, but also you got to connect directly to the plants I grew. So I was doing 10,000 plants a year, and 6,000 went down to like 2,000 or 3,000 because I got kind of busy this year, and then we had to break in, and they just destroyed everything. And
that's unfortunate. Yeah.
You know what? People...
Well, people see you doing something good, doing something positive.
Right.
And you do something like that. It's like...
Yeah.
That's kind of... That's not cool.
And it changed the way I move because, like, I was also chased by somebody. A lot of people have been mistaking me for a drug dealer lately. Yeah, I don't know why, and well, my name is Plant Plug, but also
But it's for a different reason. It's not.
all they had to do was read the advertisements on my car, which I took off. All they had to do was read the second line of the advertisement, and they know exactly what I did. But yeah, I was chased at 50 miles per hour through the streets of Long Beach, all the way to from Torrance to Long Beach. And you move different after stuff like that happens. And then right after that was the break-in. I'm like, good gravy. So so I'm just moving 100% into the education. But I was listening to the podcast I did with. I've done everybody's podcast. I haven't done Heather's yet.
Oh yeah.
I haven't done Heather's, and I don't know if I've done y'all's yet. You and Punch's podcast. I don't know if I've done y'all's. The comedy one. I haven't done the comedy one.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
I've done the adult league.
You did, yeah. You
I did the
Pro
adult
Hustle
league.
Zones. You did,
and I did Chop It Up Barbershop. Okay, shout out to them. I hope they're good.
Yeah.
I hope they're good.
Yeah,
out here. But
some more.
Pro Hustle Zone. I was talking about. It's interesting because that was less than 2 years ago, and I was talking about how I start with the education and the seed, and there's no money there yet, but there is going to be. That's how I make my bread and butter, is the education. I've been blessed. So I do workshops now, and we just did a seed swap, which was really at Project 43, which is a food pantry. If anybody needs a food pantry, I have no shame in community and mutual aid. So go get that food, no questions asked. They're open 7 days a week from 11 to about until they run out of food, usually around 3 or 4. And they have really good pickings. And whatever they don't use.
Miss Ann down
there. Yeah,
there.
Miss Ann, you know it's good. Miss Ann is a community street legend. She's a legend out here in these streets. So go get that food. And we had a seed swap there. We're going to have the next one January 14th. Hopefully this episode's out before January 14th, 2023. And you can come get some free seeds and learn from me. Because if you don't have the space, you definitely can start something. So the seed and the education, that's what I'm moving forward with. And I want to build a team again. I have a bunch of amazing people that I've been blessed with. And the thing about the Plant Plug itself, what is it that we're not going to do, you know? What else is the business not going to manifest itself into and also involve into? And I want to say this too, before I ask you the next question you're going to ask me, is I've been thinking about this a lot. A lot of people claim that they're at the top of their game. And I noticed one thing. If somebody's at the top of their game and they claim that, and they're not open to innovation, and their top seat is mostly based on nepotism, a hierarchy, and seniority, they're not at the top of their game. How can you be at the top of your game and you're not in a place that breeds innovation, that lets the children come in and teach you, you know, that lets you learn from the top and the bottom, you know, like back, forth, side to side,
and
up,
I'm
down,
happy
up,
you
down,
chose that
A,
word,
B, yeah.
because that's what we do here. It's like the house of innovation.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, it's on the hat, everybody. It's on the hat. You know, and I was just like, for me, there is no pinnacle for the Plant Plug. There is no pinnacle, and everything it's not linear for sure. Because imagine if we just had one try at things and things weren't cyclical, it was just like a lot of us would be at the end of our rope. That's it. So I'm just taking a big step back, and like I'm the person that, you know, if I know anything, it's that I know nothing at all. Now, what I do know though is the plant of the day. The plant of the day is not a plant at all. I want to talk to y'all because this episode, we're going into winter, y'all. It's been 40 degrees in my bedroom, and I don't appreciate it. And we're in Los Angeles, okay? We're in zone 10. We're supposed to be able to grow pineapples up in here. You know, we're supposed to be able to grow certain foods all year round. The plants that I do have popping are peas right now. And I had peas on my last episode. Yeah. I had peas with Martin, right? And then also we did the game show. Mm-hmm. That was fun. That was it. Are you sure about that? Best game show in South Central. Okay, so the plant of the day is actually it's gonna help you during those hard times. And I say hard times, I know we talk about a lot of hard times up in this studio, but I mean the real hard times, which is seasonal depression. If people are not aware, seasonal depression is a disorder that does occur when we get less sun, and vitamin D. So we're going to focus on the supplements. But like I said, I am not a medical professional. Everything I say is for entertainment purposes only. If you do take anything, it is at your own will. And here at the Plant Plug Podcast, including Innovative Culture in the lovely state of California, do not take any liability depending on what the viewers and listeners want to put in their bodies, please. But listen up here. So vitamin D. Vitamin D can actually be found naturally. It does occur in a lot of fish, but also the plant, everybody's favorite, mushrooms, dog.
What?
Mushrooms have vitamin D. Shiitake, lobster mushrooms are actually one of my favorite. Shout out to Chef Supreme. If you guys don't follow him, he has this super bomb lobster po' boy. It's like, it'll bring tears to your eyes. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
The way he fries it is like catfish with that cornmeal crust.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But it keeps the texture, because you know when you fry a mushroom, sometimes it absorbs all that oil.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Shout out to Chef Supreme. So vitamin D does occur naturally in mushrooms, and also it's usually fortified. Fortified means when a vitamin or mineral is added to a food product. So that also includes some meats. So B vitamins are added to meats. When you see it in milk, it's added to milk. Or it's put in the feed, so when the animal does produce animal products, because we love some plant-based stuff here on Plant Plug Podcast, is that it's fortified. So make sure you get the vitamin D, and vitamin D at least 2,000 IUs. So IUs is the unit, like people know milligrams and grams and kilos. Yes. So IU is the measurement. It's the unit measurement of vitamin D. You can get a supplement of it. You want to get the vegan one without gelatin. If you're halal, or if you are kosher, and then because a lot of regular vitamin D, which is actually kind of inexpensive, comes from sheep's wool. But I still highly suggest it. And it is a fat soluble vitamin, meaning that you do not excrete it through the process of urination. It actually stays in your blood. Oh, wow. So you don't need a lot of vitamin D. You do not. So maybe once or twice a week, 2,000 IU. It can also help, especially for men, people with them prostates, colon health. Colon health. Also, for them women's with them bones, y'all that got them bones, we are actually at higher risk of osteoporosis, so vitamin D and vitamin K. And then it just helps with overall happiness. Vitamin D. And then next to that, we're going to talk about the omega-3s. Now, omega-3s, we hear about omega-3, 6, 9, right? I am not talking about fish a lot in this podcast. You know why? Because the industry is foul. Yeah. It's really foul.
I've been seeing some foul stuff going on.
Nonetheless, do I have another place you can get bomb omega-3 from? Absolutely. We got flax oil and flax seed. You could take it by the teaspoon, and it has thousands of omega-3, 6, and 9. Another one, sunflower oil. And then the OG, we're not going to forget, good old-fashioned algae. Algae actually technically it's vegan. It has a ton of omega-3s because omega-3s help with hair, skin, nail, brain. We need those. And then also, there has been studies done, and you guys can look up these studies if you want to. Examine.com is where I usually like to do my supplement research, or Eurowid if you're from that generation. Do you remember? Those are websites that you're not supposed to be on. But Eurowid, Eurowid, you're not going to find anything about no vitamin D on there, omega-3s. But there's been studies that are taking place right now that talk about the regenerative properties of rebuilding skin and other tissues in the body using omega-3s. Because what we're doing, did you know that humans are constantly we're dying because we're catching fire. We're constantly imploding. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
So have you heard of antioxidants?
Yeah.
So antioxidant, break it down. Anti is none, right? And then oxidation. So oxidation, because we need oxygen to breathe, but at the same time, if you add oxygen to a fire, right, it's gonna kaboom, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about it is antioxidants actually slow down the aging process because we're constantly in a state of degradation. As we get older, tissues break down,
right.
Or disease takes place, and so forth. So that's why antioxidants became so popular. It's to slow down the burn.
So that's supposed to be like the fountain of youth or something? It's like the antioxidant drinks. They think they slowing down their aging process by drinking. Is that what that really is?
Yeah, because there's free radicals too. So I can do a whole nother episode, which I'm not going to do right now because I'm tired. But on I just need to word this better.
I never knew what it meant before.
I just listened to what I just said, and I'm like, Taylor, that doesn't sound like it makes sense. Okay, let me just put the statements out there. Okay, because I'm on 3 hours of sleep. Antioxidant, oxidation, free radicals. Okay, those are the building blocks of my point.
Okay.
But antioxidants, I remember they were pushed really big, especially by like Palm Wonderful and pomegranate. By the way, if you want fresh juices, hit up straight up fast food, because at a certain point, those nutrients die. And we're just drinking water at this point. It's very expensive sweet water. You know, I'm down for some agua frescas, don't get me wrong, but agua frescas off the block are way fresher than the stuff we have on the shelves. And plus, it's pasteurized. But get your stuff from straight up fast food. That's the homie right there. We got to get his stickers up here.
Yeah.
We got to fix this. So, no, this is great. I just love seeing everybody's thing out there. Mr. Smooth Love, I see him. We got inspiration for sale. So, yeah, but yeah, we're just combusting. We're, you know, there's spontaneous combustion. I've heard of that phenomenon, but I'm talking about like, I'm serious. We're just constant. We're combusting. Come on, we're 98 degrees.
Yeah.
When you have a fever, your body's cooking off. Like a lot of people say, take aspirin during the fever, but that fever is to cook off whatever's taking over your body. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, like I said, I'm not a medical professional. My goodness, but just look it up. If my goodness, this is not my job. But yeah. Flax oil for your omega-3s, 10 out of 10 recommend, and also have that vitamin D to help with seasonal depression, because what do they do? It's dark at 3:30 now.
Yeah, well, for sure, like 5. Like,
yeah.
I know at least by 5 it's dark already.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We're
but I thought that we voted to not have another.
Just California. So think about it, because the thing about daylight savings is time is a man-made construct. We understand that, but sundials do exist. But a man had to make a sundial for it to reflect off the sun. Now I'm not gonna lie that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. We're not gonna lie about that. Miss Erykah Badu said it, so it must be true. So California getting rid of it is the timestamp specifically, and I think there's a state that doesn't do it already. I heard Arizona makes their own laws, by the way. Arizona there's states that have low-key seceded in silence, and Arizona is one of them. So is Texas, and so is Florida.
They do their own thing.
They've been doing their own thing since forever. So I heard Arizona does not, but they also shoot you if you're brown. And yeah. I'm sorry. So just putting that out there. I mean, don't get your flax oil from Arizona. And California is supposed to take place in 2023. So we're going to stop doing the time change. Now, the thing about, I think it's really important about that is you're going to understand psychologically how much these numbers affect you, as well as everybody get in tune into their circadian rhythm. Yeah. Get in tune with your circadian rhythm. That's like knowing, does anybody read their car manuals when they get their car? Don't say you did.
I only look inside the car manual when I'm looking for something specific. Yeah. Like if I'm trying to find a certain fuse or something.
Right.
Like,
but we never read them. We never read. And that book is thick, boy.
Yeah, it is.
That book is thick. And, that's what our car manual would be. In essence, is our circadian rhythm. It's something that I haven't tapped into until this recent daylight savings, because I am confused. Oh, I'm confused. I thought today was Monday, and it's Thursday. It's definitely Thursday. So what's the next question you have for me, Cam?
What's your favorite plant and why?
People or plants? Now, that's a broad stroke question.
You know what? But I can accept that answer. I can accept that answer, but it's like a lot of people don't like other people. So you got to explain why people is your favorite plant.
Have you looked at botany? Botany, they do not get down with each other. You know, walnut trees cannot have other trees or other fruits and vegetables grow within 10 feet of them because they'll kill it.
They need their space, but it's people that's like that.
Yeah, there's people like that.
So it shows like...
You know that guy that stands in the corner and his eyes are yellow and it looks like he hasn't slept in 10 years? And he has smoke coming out of every hole in his body? That guy would definitely be a walnut tree. Yeah. So to answer, my favorite switch, how I got to where I am as far as knowing certain plants is that I'll hyper focus on a plant and just become enthralled by it. And I noticed that it's based on season now. Like growing up, my two favorite things were lemons and strawberries, right? And by the way, if you eat lemons from age 6 until now, you're gonna ruin your teeth, aka me. And that's since changed. It's changed so much. Like I didn't know there was a citrus season, which is it's November till February, and then also
I don't know because I drive Riverside
imports, Cam.
Oh, okay.
Imports.
But the fields full of oranges and shit.
Oh yeah, it's citrus season right now.
But all through the year, like I remember going in like the spring and the summer, and I still see them out there like just trees full of oranges.
Yeah, you're still gonna have that, but the thing about it is some things are treated and grown, especially in California. We can do that, and then another thing is that people still have to produce, especially if that's their business. But when it comes to bare basics, as a plant is in its essence, citrus season is now. So just like we have a season. I'm not meant to be walking this earth forever. Yeah. But we have a season and we go through changes. So do plants. So they thrive during November to February in Los Angeles. And my favorite plant right now, or what I've been hyper focusing on, has definitely been peas and zinnias.
Peas and zinnias.
Like, we need more pollinators in California because of bees. Milkweed's my jam. It takes a long time to grow from seed, but man, is it worth it. I have some caterpillar homies. What's good? And also, zinnias are absolutely gorgeous, and they're such a fluffy flower, and I don't really see them a lot in bouquets. And peas, I started some Alaskan peas. I started some sugar peas. They're super easy to grow. They're absolutely gorgeous. You get these wonderful white flowers. They're full of fiber as well. A lot of people don't like peas because a lot of these things were introduced to us in the can or the county food. As kids, anybody I know that I'm friends with that grew up out here, every vegetable that we had was introduced to us either through the can or county food. Yeah. It was through the can or county food. Yep. And so the thing about it is, like, we did have our parents that would buy fruit and vegetables from the store sometimes, or the person off the corner, and chop it up for us. Now that, nothing like a plate of chopped fruit from a parent or a grandparent. It tastes extra good. Yeah. Nonetheless, is that I had to have a new experience with that, and that was peas. So I have a client right now. I have bushels of peas right now. We just pick them and chew on them because they're firm. They have a nice snap and sweetness to them. Because I don't like soggy peas. I mean, do you know peas aren't supposed to be brown? They're green. This is nasty. But yeah, that's my favorite thing. I will be honest with you though. I've been very intrigued by the cannabis industry as of late, and then learning about how it changes chemically from especially with cannabinoids and CBDs, CBGs, THCs, and just learning about terpenes or terpenes. And lemons are still up there for me, though. Lemons are my absolute favorite. And it turns out if anybody is over-medicated for one reason or another, or if you're just having bad anxiety, you can make lemon peel tea. There is a terpene or terpene that it's called limonene, and I've mentioned before on another episode, that you can either tuck it in your cheek and chew on it, or you can make a tea out of it, and it will help even you out. And also, that's what the sailors used to do to prevent scurvy, because they didn't brush their teeth when they were at sea. So,
what did they have, toothbrushes period back then?
See, somebody said this is their toxic trait. I have this thing where if I see pictures, I just imagine how it smells. So when I see like pictures of like European royalty specifically, it's just blowing my nostrils back, boy.
I know it wasn't no deodorant. It wasn't none of that shit back then.
But you look up their hygiene habits back then. They used to not use toilets either. Yeah. They would not use toilets back then. They would just go in the castle, in the kingdom, in the common area.
I got one more question.
What is it?
All right, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but this is my question now. The little boy that talk about corn.
Oh, yeah. See, this is the thing. People have been bringing it up to me, and the thing about it, I haven't made any comment or any content on the kid with the corn.
Well, people then like remixed his interview and made songs out of it.
There's this duo that actually started the whole thing on YouTube that they did the Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife. And I used to live by those remixes. Like, that YouTube era, like where things were just like raw, you know what I'm saying? And we would just watch the same thing on loop. Yep. And so they actually did it too. They did the corn remix. That's their song too. And so, see, the thing about me is that it's corn. And I just, whenever I see children get any type of fame and notoriety like that, I just really pray that they're in the right hands, and that whoever their guardians are not taking advantage of them financially or emotionally in any type of way, and that they're letting a child be a child, and they're meeting that child where they're at. I acted when I was a minor for a little bit, and there's actually a clauses that make sure the money, you have to sign it to make sure the money actually goes into a trust for the child. Oh, you did too? Were you on the Cosby Show, little Cam?
Nah, I wasn't on the Cosby Show.
I hope not.
I think that was after you. Cosby Show was after. I mean, that was before my time.
But that was like if you were a kid on the Cosby Show, like you made it.
Yeah.
You made it.
Yeah.
You made it. I used to get compared to Raven Simone a lot when I was younger. I see it. I get it. I'm aware of it. I just don't have that. I don't have that Raven Simone money.
Yeah, give me the check.
Give me the check. Maybe
I'll accept.
I'll consider it. Yeah. So the thing about it is that's the fascination. That's what I get to encounter every time I teach. So to me, seeing that kid take such joy in corn, as magical and lovely and adorable as that moment is, that nobody can take away from him, hopefully. Man, I'm really like, I don't even like y'all adults no more. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I get to encounter as a teacher, educator, every time I'm out there. And it's crazy. Like, these kids, there's this little girl that I worked with when I was at Project 43, and I showed her how to pick basil seeds from the plant. That's foraging. She went bananas. And the seeds are super, super tiny, and she smelled like basil like crazy. And then every time I would walk away, she'd come, Miss Taylor, are we done for the day? I'm like, I was done, but I'm like, no, how can I say no to her? Yeah. You know? And so she was in that basil plant, surrounded by all these bees, not scared at all, just picking out seeds. She had a whole palm of basil seeds. And to me, bless you, that's powerful. That's powerful to instill that skill set in a child, as well as she showed me how powerful she is. She showed me how excited she was. Yeah. And that's not trivial to me. So I get to experience that every time as an educator. And it's absolutely wonderful. And is corn really that good? Yes. I think corn gets a bad rap because of the industry. I like corn too. Corn is my growing experience with corn is. Do I have a lot of corn seeds? Absolutely. Do I shout out Mexico every time because they passed laws to protect 12 of their native corn seed? Yes. And corn was Tio Sente at one point. So I want to see what this young man does with his love of corn.
Yeah.
He might come out with corn juice. He
gotta have his own brand of elote.
See, I'm so jiggy with that.
They gotta have like elote with his picture on it.
Who knows what they're gonna do? Because I've been seeing a lot more black children specifically having their brands. There's a lemonade stand brand, and then they get picked up. And like I said, I just hope that, because I always think of the back end when it comes to business first. Right. It's the first thing I think of. And I'm like,
anybody taking advantage of them?
And are they getting good deals? Mm-hmm. Are they getting good deals? Like if you get $1 million deal can be worse than $100,000 deal, because the agreement and the details in that deal.
Yeah, it gotta make sense.
Yes,
and that's another. The right people looking over your paperwork.
Thank you, and that's what I said. When you're going back to your last question, is one thing I didn't do that I wish I did when I first started is get everything in writing and write. You get to write. The one cool thing about being an entrepreneur or freelancer, you get to write your own work agreements, and you get to tell people no. Let me call my old job and tell them no, and see if I don't get fired. But if somebody tells me, you can say respectfully.
They're gonna be like on page 37 of the employee handbook.
Not the employee handbook. I just used to look in there to see what days we get off.
Oh, you didn't read this during the orientation? That's what they're gonna.
I was so mad. I would only look at it when I was mad. Like I remember at Whole Foods, they made me take my nose ring out, and I was like, "What?" Because I was hired by somebody that had one, and they made me take it out. I ran to the handbook.
She work in the back. she don't work out here with the public, so she can get away with it. They always got an excuse.
And they said, take it out, because the little kid said, what is that in my face? And the mom explained it to him. It's a child. The child wasn't scared. The child was like, what is that in her face? And so the manager at the time made me take it out, and I went to that handbook, and it said the manager of said Whole Foods gets to dictate what the employees wear, which I didn't know. I've never worked for a company that had that rule.
I've never heard that before. It's like it was a standard for everybody. It's not a pick and choose type of situation.
But at Whole Foods, it's a pick and choose.
Yeah, that's not
so
cool.
I was just like, that's a crazy thing. So these companies write their own agreements, and it feels like law, right?
Like they could hire their nephew with the face tat if they wanted to, But
did you go to that Whole Foods? That's exactly what happened. That's exact. Oh, you know what I heard that you can't do? Some casinos in Las Vegas do not allow people with face and neck tattoos in their casino.
You can't come in?
You can't come in, and you can't buy concert tickets.
Wow.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
You got to reevaluate that face tat if you're going to plan on going to public events.
They said neck and hands.
Well, damn. That's even...
What am I going to do?
I'm sorry.
Oh, well. There's not a Tyson fight anytime soon, so I'm fine, I guess. But anyways, yeah, so that's exactly it. But we were just talking about nepotism. So they'll go hire the nephew. I'm telling you, that actually literally happened at that store I was at.
That's crazy.
Anyways, so, yeah. It when it comes back, circling back to the corn boy, like, God bless him, protect that child. That's how I feel about any child getting into the industry. And also, I want to see what he does with it. And also, the thing, even with George Washington Carver, which they didn't really teach a lot in school, George Washington Carver, he did not invent peanut butter. He was a botanist that found dozens of uses with the peanut. Because anything that could produce oil or any type of silk or any type of material can be utilized multiple times in many, 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 many ways. So, to the top,
it's like
corn boy.
we fry turkeys in peanut oil.
If that's not the worst thing we can do for ourselves as a community.
Hey, I'm just saying. That's a use for the peanut.
Yeah, it is a use for the peanut. Good gravy. It reminds me of that Boondocks episode, which I want to close this episode out on, is 'tis the season that the holidays are coming up. And I just love how society now skips Thanksgiving, goes straight to Christmas.
Yeah, everybody got Christmas lights.
Yeah, already. I love it. Thank you, guys. So another thing that's really big in our community, the Black community specifically, is soul food. And I do want to talk about it for a little bit and a little quick. If I could just get 5 minutes to add another plant of the day, because we already talked about mushrooms having vitamin D, and we already talked about flax oil having omega-3. So I'm going to throw a little thing in there. And I love my beans. I actually refer to myself as a bean. I think I'm shaped like a bean. It's not disrespectful. I think it's funny. And the thing about it is black eyed peas, right? Prevalent in soul food. Now trip out. The thing about black eyed peas, two things, is I recently learned that back in the day, African slaves in America farmed everything. It wasn't just cotton. And it was more than tobacco and watermelon. They farmed everything, right? But when they had to cook their food, they were only allowed to have one pot. That's how we ended up with gumbo and succotash. Because you had one pot to put everything in.
Had to feed everybody.
And we got 4 burners and 6 skillets, and we got a grill pan, and we got a George Foreman, and we got an air fryer. You had one pot.
Yeah, you gotta throw all that in the pot and cook it at once.
But the glory that came from that blows my mind. But something as simple as you only were allowed one pot. I'm talking about like you were only allowed one pot. Not we were so impoverished we could only afford one pot. No, you were only allowed one pot. Gave birth to like the bane of my culture's cooking. Yeah. Like if you can't make good gumbo, you weren't shit. And also, it's funny because you could associate the gumbo recipe to the person. Like my uncle, who listen to him, he is so country. He doesn't even say bye on the phone. He just hangs up on you. And, and the thing about it is he knew this guy that used to put bologna in his gumbo. And you don't talk to that guy. Would you trust a man that puts bologna in his gumbo?
I'm not trusting that at all.
But would you trust a man? Would you let that man watch your children?
Nah.
Would you let that man drive your car?
Nah.
Would you let that man know your last name?
Nah.
That's what I'm saying.
Put bologna in the gumbo.
That's so funny to me though, because they were basing his character off of his gumbo recipe. Wow. See, and we don't do that anymore. We'll judge somebody based on what kind
of raisins and potato salad, huh?
But I'm just saying, like we judge people now based on like what kind of car they're driving, what kind of shoes they have. If that's not one of the most country things, is like especially like you judge somebody based on your gumbo recipe, like
Oh, bologna? Come on.
No, I'm serious. Obviously I heard that joke like 30 years ago, but it still busts me up.
So he just take individual slices, or he take like the?
No, because bologna doesn't come in the slices. That's fancy eating right there.
Got the whole.
The whole. It's a
Did he just
log.
drop it in
It's
there?
a log.
Or do we cut it up? Like, is it just one big ass piece?
He just drops the whole log in the pot.
Then once it start to break down, that's when you know it's ready. Like you got all the juices.
All the juices.
All the seasonings and flavors soak into the bologna brick.
It tastes like prison.
Yeah. Like
So-
raisins and potato salad.
This is back to our cultural history, our historical lesson. So the last part about black eyed peas that make them so wonderful is that yes, you can grow black eyed peas in this weather right now. If you're in Zone 10, if you're in Los Angeles, you can put some black eyed peas in a soil mix or a seed mix and sprout your black eyed peas, as well as the reason why the black community, African Americans, eat black eyed peas for New Year's to usher in good luck was because a farmer from that era was cooking black eyed peas on his stove the night that the 13th Amendment, which was the amendment that ended slavery in the United States, theoretically, was supposed to be.
That's a fact that I did not know about.
Was supposed to be, whether it passed or, whether it just, dissipated or magically disappeared, like so many things. So it turns out the next day, the 13th Amendment was put into law, and slavery as we know it was ended. Theoretical slavery was ended in the United States of America. That's why African Americans eat black eyed peas on New Year's every year, because it's okay. If that's not trauma, I don't know what it is. Ancestors, you know what I'm saying? But the fact is, it's another thing that became glorious through unification, through plants, and through food. And despite the attempted genocide of a people, because the best way you can, I believe this, the best way you can kill a people, well, there's two ways: destroy their food source, destroy their minds, or also kill somebody they love. That's the best way to kill somebody. Is not kill them, kill somebody or something they love. So just disenfranchise them completely and absolutely in every way, single matter. Take their God, take their spirituality, take their food, take their mind, and introduce systems that take centuries and generations to completely dismantle, let alone understand. So, I've come to love black eyed peas. I love okra. I grow both of them, and I grow corn. And the thing about it is, I think about that one pot, and we were promised that America was supposed to be a big melting pot, and it is still very greatly segregated. Anybody that's not from Los Angeles, if you're listening, Los Angeles is still greatly segregated. So the thing about it is, we don't have the blacks only and the coloreds. Remember when people used to call us coloreds or Negroes? We don't have those water fountains anymore. But the segregation, that's the scariest part, is the lines that we can't see. The signs that are unwritten, that are not posted.
That's facts.
So the thing about it is, when I think about that big melting pot, the melting pot is that single pot, and I want to not only honor that through sharing the word, but also adding to that pot. I'm not here to take. And that's the thing about the plant plug too. The plant plug is not here to take. I can be a millionaire maybe once or twice over right now. I'm not, because of the things I chose not to do. The way I chose not to run my business, people are like, because I'm not here. That's the thing about capitalism. For me, it's not about getting rid of that system where people can't make money and make profit. It's just the profit margins don't exist. Yeah. And there's not a high, there's not a cap, and there's not a low. So there's no limit to how much profit you get to take and how much you get to take advantage of people. Yeah, there are monopoly laws, but every law has a loophole. And there's not a lowest of the low. The poverty line exists, but there are way more ways to make that poor person poorer, and it's not illegal. That's why capitalism, slow down. Yeah. Capitalism and democracy are not the same thing, and that's what happened. So coming back to that melting pot and those black eyed peas and just all that it is, when people tell me it's not that deep, y'all, it really is. And it is that deep, especially if you're listening to the Plant Plug podcast. You are in the right place. But I just want to end on that note. Y'all, happy holidays. Be safe out there. Grow some black eyed peas. Get your vitamin D. get your 30 minutes of sun when you can, preferably in shorts. You want your legs and your arms exposed. I know, Cam, you don't want to show everybody your legs. You got to show them gams, boy. You got to show those gams. Yeah. Come on. Get it where you fit it, boy. That. Yes, we do. All right. But thank you, everybody, for listening in and getting to know a little bit more about me, the business, Cam, the producing man. Check out Innovative Culture also on Instagram and YouTube, and they have like 10,000 shows. It's absolutely incredible the kind of stuff they produce out here. And also they produce me, Taylor Lindsey, the owner of the Plant Plug and the Plant Plug podcast. I appreciate y'all, and tune into the next episode, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Yeah. See the Plant Plug, everything is stock, it's organic. I don't take much to put a seed inside the planet. It's way more about what you do after you plant it. It's all a cycle, go and cook a plate and smash it, yeah. She got all the needs for your seeds, yeah, yeah. Hit the knees, gotta pull out all the